Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Laurie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Needs to be turned around.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We will begin this meeting. I'm going to allow people 5 minutes to speak. Normally we give 3. I'm going to give a little more time for people to speak. We will go till everybody who wants to speak about the library or the municipal services building would like to speak on that subject, okay? So I'd like to start.
And Mario, you just
You're
want to
given-
note that this is a meeting at which we will be taking no official action.
Yeah, we will be taking no official action at this meeting. The commissioners are here to listen. There'll be no back and forth. We're just here to take to get your input on this subject, okay? I'd like to start off over here with Don Kelly, who is
Name and address, right?
yeah, he's going to speak on behalf of the Civic Council.
Thank you. Don Kelly, 135 East Hathaway Lane in Havertown. Thank you. I've been asked to make a formal statement on behalf of the Haverford Township Civic Council, and so I'll read the statement. The Haverford Township Civic Council Board would like to commend the Board of Commissioners and the Property Committee for work that has been completed so far. We applaud your decision to create a committee to address the problem of our aging facilities, and we appreciate that the Property Committee has worked very hard to outline issues and explore options. The elected board of the Haverford Township Civic Council, representing over 30 community groups and organizations in the township, would like to express its support for an attractive, high-functioning, technologically current, and energy-efficient library, which serves as a vibrant hub for children, families, adults, seniors, and community groups. The Haverford Township Civic Council Board is not recommending a specific plan, as we do not have consensus regarding the 2 options which have been suggested. We do believe that addressing the facilities needs of the library as an afterthought and trying to wedge those needs onto or on top of the existing new municipal building plan is not the best way to proceed. On the other hand, renovating the library in its current building, especially without addressing the parking problem, may also not be the best decision. The township is at a critical junction, and the cost of renovating or moving the library is significant. So we suggest that the township not rush into a poorly considered decision. We suggest that we take time to explore all of our options and make use of an independent professional municipal planner to guide the township in this process. With further study, additional options for the library may surface, or it may be that with careful consideration of all the factors, a better consensus around the 2 currently proposed options will develop on the Board of Commissioners and in the community as a whole. Finally, the Civic Council asks that you make the needs of the library a high priority in your vision for Haverford Township. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. We'll start over here. Gary?
Yes, I would like to speak, but I was wondering if Commissioner D'Amelio and Heilman were going to attend tonight.
Commissioner D'Amelio is on his way.
We'll let him speak after they come then, all right?
Okay, all right.
Do you mind if I just
no,
defer
you can-
because I would
yeah.
like them to hear?
I know Commissioner D'Amelio is on his way. He called me, and he's on his way. He got stuck at work. So, all right, we'll go down this row. Would you like to speak?
thank you.
Okay. No. Next row. Chad. No. Anyone over here? Okay. Next row.
Or until later.
Okay.
You'd like one?
All
Defer
right.
to later, okay.
Anybody in the last row? Okay.
Jean Angel from 25 Kennedy Road. When I was growing up, the library in my hometown was an important place for me and the rest of my family. 50 years later, in spite of the computer age, my town library is still an important place for me for my husband, and for my 3 sons. Throughout their childhoods, my sons have taken out many library books, books on tape, and videos, and they've participated in a wide variety of library programs. As preschoolers, each enjoyed the library's art and story time programs. In elementary school, they participated in the summer reading program and Science in the Summer. And in junior high and high school, they sometimes use it as a place to go after school. 2 of my sons have also participated in the library's teen volunteer program, giving them a first opportunity to give back to the community and experience what it's like to have a job. I'm a longtime supporter of the library, as a member of the Friends Group, as an attender at nearly every library gala event and numerous other fundraisers, and volunteering to put my garden on their garden tour. I have attended numerous lectures, workshops, and programs at the library, and I frequently attend meetings of civic groups held there. Ironically, while I love the library and I like to read and watch movies, I rarely take out one of their books or DVDs. What I have found is that the parking hassle keeps me away from the library. Nearly every time I've taken out a library book or a video, I have ended up paying late fees because I have avoided the unpleasant prospect of searching for a parking spot just to return the book. In spite of the parking issue, I believe that the best place for the library is at its current location, in the center of town and within blocks of the middle and high schools. If the library is moved to the municipal complex, it will be closer to my home and I would personally use it more often, but I think the needs of the children should take priority. I also do not find the idea of a second and third floor library at all appealing. I do feel that parking at the current location is a very big problem, and if the library remains at Darby and Mill, funds would need to be set aside to purchase a property nearby, to expand their parking lot, or to create a new municipal parking lot along Darby Road. Books are not obsolete, neither is the town library. It's still an important place for our children, even more important now as a balance to their computer time. I see our library as a vibrant center of community life. While the CREC does a wonderful job exercising our bodies with sports, fitness programs, and nature trails, the library offers residents across the lifespan opportunities for engaging and broadening their minds. Through literature, poetry, film, and music, by offering workshops and lectures covering nearly every discipline, by providing programs geared towards every age group and an infinite number of interests, the library raises up and knits together our community in ways that no other institution does. I think it's critical for the health and quality of Haverford Township that the Board of Commissioners make an investment in an excellent library facility, in our superb library staff, and in our library programs. Thank you.
Okay, on this side of the room, anyone else? Okay, anyone over here? Okay, come on up. Just give us your name and address.
David Dewsnap, 1901 Lawrence Road.
Dave.
For many years, I used the library when I was growing up. It was an important part of my childhood. And as has already been mentioned, I don't use the library here as much as I would like because of the parking issue. But most importantly, in my mind, is while we're grappling with the issues of the library, budget always becomes an important issue with that. And I think of the money that we have spent in the last few years to develop the wonderful athletic facilities around the Haverford Reserve. If you haven't been up there to see that, I'm sure most of you have. It's well used, it's spectacular, and it's doing a lot for our children. What a shame it would be if we have lengthened their lives with this athletic ability that we're creating in them, but then remove from them one of the prime opportunities for living a full life, which is the intellectual side of things. The whole body, the whole person is the mind and the physical, and we've found the funds to do right by their physical side. I want to make sure that we do whatever we can to take care of the whole community's intellectual side as well. Thank you.
Anyone else on this side of the room? Rich, come on up.
Rich Buxton, 803 Valley Valley Road, 8th Ward. Excuse me, we're facing a lot of difficult choices, and ultimately it'll come down to you as a board. And this is not an easy one. We are really suffering from decisions that have been deferred, neglected for decades, and all three issues that we're looking at, the township administration building, the police station, as well as the library, it's hard to argue against having three good buildings in the township. I'm speaking as a citizen. I'm also speaking as president of Brookline Baseball and Softball, and I do have a concern about potential loss of field space, and I have spoken with a few of you about that. And looking at the model, it doesn't look like it would impact us much, but I'm certainly concerned about further intrusion onto the field. And we know we already have a significant parking problem at Veterans. So I'm concerned that we're at risk of piling too many things, all good things, in one spot. That becomes a real problem. For me also, there's something about a library and a police station on top of one another that is disconcerting to me. So my feeling would be the police station, I've been in it as a citizen, not as a prisoner. But it is clearly inadequate. Steve and I both serve on the youth aid panel, and we're in a room that really is insufficient for dealing with the children and the...
It's called the dungeon.
Yeah, it's tough. So clearly something needs to change, that we do need that building. But again, I'm concerned about putting too much in one place. And the library is a very strategic location for the township in its current location. Clearly it's inadequate, and I don't have all of the answers there. But I think, like Gene, that is a good location. I'd like to explore as many options as possible. I think you were extremely well spoken about, let's slow this down. It took a lot of time to deal with the Hereford State Hospital grounds, and I think everyone had the opportunity to lend their voices, and you to lend your ears over many years to come up with a good plan. So again, I'm concerned about too much in one place, and that it would impact the baseball and softball fields, on which I'm going into my 26th year and serving on the Brookline board. So that's certainly a big concern. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else on this side? Mrs. Levin? I'm sorry, Dr. Levin. Thank you.
No problem.
Just waiting on you.
Sorry.
Thank you. I think I've arrived just in time. I have a few notes here, and I want to tell you that I have reviewed this plan several times and listened to people who I consider to be important in this process. I want to talk to you about be careful of what you wish for. The following should be kept in mind during this talk. In the first place, borrowing on credit means you don't have the cash, and the result is that you're going to charge your constituents. You're individually not going to pay for this. the property owners are going to bear the predominant responsibility. You cannot be oblivious either to the banking debacle that we've gotten over, or the real estate bubble which has burst. It is not likely that either of these are going to occur again, and as a consequence, property values are probably going to remain in range. You're also aware that unemployment is not coming down markedly. It's coming down slowly. There has not been a rebound, and we do know that cost of living increases have been substantial. Food has been downsized on the shelves. If you've been looking at the labels, there are increased costs for food, shelter, and other expenses, and they are considerable. Your taxes in this township, according to my calculations, over the course of 10 years have gone up about 4% per year. County taxes have gone up much less. They're about 2%. School taxes have risen substantially as well. Now, looking at that information from the standpoint of the municipal services building plan, I don't see any metadata for this period. There's no intermediate data. There's just this plan, okay? Put together by the property committee, at least 2 members of whom are on the Board of Commissioners. Apparently, there is no business plan for the municipal service building, the police department, or the library. And I'm talking about a business plan which says we need so much space. In 50 years, we're going to need a little bit more. Maybe in 10 years, we'll need a little bit less. I don't see any of that. Consequently, I am looking at figures that you've given for 24,000 square feet of police department at $7,200,000. For the administration, I'm looking at 17,000 square feet, or a value of about $5,190. Now, continuing this, the library is in at $9,240,000 to add it to a new township plan for the administration building and police department. Land acquisition is not included on this. You're going to have $5 to $7 million worth of land acquisition if you listen to Gary Bogosian on this topic. Has he spoken yet?
No.
All right. The total cost that I come up with now is $26 to $28 million. I would allow this as a proposed budget. And I'm going to tell you where I stand on this. I think I stand at about $12 million, $10 to $12 million. Okay, and here's how. The police department would be in for about 18,000 square feet, or $5,400,000. The administration aspect of this new building is not going to take place. I suggest that you consider that the administration is going to stay where it is and is going to be lightly renovated. The Cotraney building can be increased in size. The recreation department should go out to the C-Rec Center, and that property should be reused. And the library, which I have very fond feelings for, should be renovated, probably to the tune of about $5,900,000. Why? Because the library is vital to this community. It is a cost of your doing business, the same way that the police department is a cost.
Okay, let's wrap it up there.
I will wrap it up.
Okay, thank you.
So, I'm looking at 26 to 28 million in terms of the proposed cost, and I'm saying that I would allow 12 to 14 million at the most. Leave the library where it is. It is sufficient in size. It has 3 floors, a basement which can serve as a community room if fixed up, a first floor which is for the adult section of the library, and a second floor which is a children's section and has offices. That building is a fine building.
Okay,
Please leave it as it is.
okay, thank you.
When it's over, Doc,
You can say more
you can
after-
say more after it's over, Doc.
Everybody's done. If you'd like to say more, you can. Gary, everybody's here. Would you like to speak? Sure.
Probably tired of seeing me. This is the 3rd time in 24 hours I've been at this podium. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me just set my timer here so I know what I'm doing. Thanks, Mike, for the little preamble, but let me try to explain what he was talking about. So my name is Gary Bogosian, 2410 Linden Drive. Thanks for letting our citizens speak. And this, I want to say this decision that you're going to make will affect us for 30 years or more. And rushing through the process for the sake of low interest rates, I think, is unwise. The library component was added 3 months ago in late fall, so there hasn't been enough time to really investigate and consider other reasonable alternatives. As a 30-year professional architect and planner, and as a 15-year tax-paying citizen, I want to be clear and frank that placing 24,000 square feet or 30,000 square feet of the library on top of the already strained 3-story municipal building is not an opportunity, but a misguided strategy. It defies most reasonable planning design parameters, and it's an untenable use of the site. It could be the biggest and costliest mistake we make. The site's far too small to accommodate the huge program. This is very important. I believe we would need to acquire significant land, such as the corner Wawa. And we also must build expensive infrastructure, the roads, utilities, and sewers. And I believe that that would add a high cost of up to $3 to $5 million. Having a high-traffic library based on an upper floor, I believe, is ill-advised and requires extensive vertical transportation. Even then, if the program were to be built, the concurrence of uses for the police, the library administration, large meetings, stadium, and the ball fields could paralyze the site and roads at various times, making this $30 million investment almost unusable. The PowerPoint slides have apparent inaccuracies, such as, and I'd like to try to get this clarified, but the township and police are indicated as 37,700 square feet at $300 a square foot, $11.3 million. Then adding the library makes it a total of 61,600 square feet. Now, this is all on these slides that were presented for a total of 18.5 million. But it states the library addition is 23,900 square feet, making it 7.2 million. The existing library, though, is over 31,000 square feet, and that's according to their studies and my measurements, and they would have to then reduce their space needs. Now, the schematic stacking floor plans, that's these, they show different numbers. The net floor areas, please note that they have 10% added, rightfully, for circulations and walls. So the police building is not 22,000 square feet, but rather 24,000 square feet. And the administration's not 15,700, but rather 17,300. And the library is shown on here as 28,000 square feet, not 23,900. And with the 10% would now be close to the existing at 30,800. Now at $300 a square foot, that's 9.3 million. That's where Mr. Levin came up with that number. Thus, I believe the overall megastructure that's shown on here is 65,745 square feet. They add 10% equals 72,000 square feet. That's what's indicated on here. If it's $300 a square foot, now it costs almost 22 million. And I believe you'd have to add 4 to 6 million for land acquisition and infrastructure. And that's how I believe that we would get to 26 to 28 million, not including the soft costs. Now, for your consideration, I'd like to suggest a more modest, I'm calling it Bogosian plan, for lack of a better way to do it. And sorry, it's a small little, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, but This is what I would consider as an alternative that I'd like you to consider. A new but much smaller police building built on the corner with only 18,000 square feet, including circulation. That's 75% more than the existing space. They need a new building, no doubt. I believe that would cost about $5.5 million. Renovation of the existing library for $5.5 million, which is what they've studied it as, which would yield a brand new, now state-of-the-art